I greet you with Jesus' joy, for it is in him that I live, breathe, move, and have my very being. I am delighted that you joined Unbox on Purpose today, a podcast created for Favored by the Father Ministries. I am Barbara Arlene Fields Brehon, your host. Our featured guests share how they stepped outside of comfort zones, dark places in life, or perhaps they made simple pivots towards purpose to become unboxed. We discuss experiences that lead to the fulfillment of God gifted purpose. And I pray that each episode will help our audience to access their authentic destiny. Today's guest is Mark L. Hardy. He's going to discuss the topic something new. Yes, I said something new. Mark is an attorney joining us from Rockland, California. Born in Salt Lake City, Utah, Mark grew up in the majestic shadows of world-class ski resorts and what's known as the greatest snow on earth. I have some friends that will like that. A man of deep faith and global perspective, he served a Latter day Saints mission in Tahiti, Fiji, and New Caledonia. Mark holds a BA degree in journalism from the University of Utah, and he earned his law degree from McGeorge School of Law in 1988. He is a practicing attorney and a proud member of both the California and Nevada state bars. Married happily for 47 years to his beloved wife, Jill, Mark is a devoted family man with 2 children, 8 grandchildren, and he is also a published author of several works. One of these titles I really love, Laster Day, My Witness, which is Christmas poems, and The Swimmer's Paradise, which you should promise, The Swimmer's Promise, which you will see under his name. Hi, Mark. Thanks for being here. I hope I didn't chop that up too much.
No, you did great, Reverend. I appreciate the introduction. Thank you.
God bless you. I'm so glad that you are here with us today and that you said yes to this invitation. Would you briefly tell our audience how we know each other?
Well, we were introduced by the publishers of my book, and we had a great conversation a week or two back, and got to know each other pretty well. And again, I appreciate very much the introduction that you gave of me, and I'm grateful for the time.
Yes, I like to share with the audience that Quippy Quill is the persons that we have in common, and usually Robert Williams will uh, refer various writers to me, and sometimes we work out so well that we're in the spot that we're in today doing a podcast together. So we are now unboxed together on purpose, thanks to Robert Williams. Wanted to give him a little promo there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Let's go ahead to talk about who it is that Mark L. Hardy is. What would you say are your passions that you can reflect on from childhood or your teen years? Where'd you grow up, and maybe give us a short spill about your unique identity in regard to your passions early in life.
Yeah, I grew up in a very idyllic part of the world. I grew up in now called Sandy, Utah, but it was a community called Granite in the mouth of Little Cottonwood Canyon. I grew up on Dimple Bell Road, and there was surrounded by orchards and irrigation streams and reservoirs and the ski resorts themselves, the greatest snow on earth. Alta and Snowbird were 10 minutes, over the top of Lone Peak from me, about a 15-minute drive. As a teenager and going to the University of Utah as well, my biggest debate was, should I drive 10 minutes and pay $10 and ski at Alta on only the most perfect day, or should I drive 45 minutes around the mountain and ski for free at Park City because my dad had a business arrangement with the resort. And while I was in the University of Utah, it was, ski. I'd keep my skis in the car, and philosophy would get out at 10, and political science didn't start till 2, so I'd go ski in between. Sometimes I'd come back for political science.
You all keep in mind that we're talking to someone who became a lawyer, and sometimes he would come back to political science. Okay, we're going to let you tell your story, but that gave me a chuckle.
But the things of civilizations progress, I guess, and neighborhoods progress. The streams have all been piped over, and a lot of the orchards have been lost, and so or cut down. And so it's not the same. It's only a kind of a place in my mind now that's very special to me.
Memories are vital.
My passion was actually football, athletics, uh, in as a young man growing up. And I remember I had a younger brother. We lost him at 10 years old. But when I was a young kid, I had to he pretty much tagged along with me everywhere. And I remember by the time I turned 12, I learned that there was a little league football team in town, and I wanted to join. And my brother begged my mom to let him join as well. And I remember how mad I was. I said, no, this was something I wanted to do. I wanted it to be mine. And from that point forward, football was pretty much my life, all up through high school, and I got some scholarships to some of the junior colleges around, and later I walked on to the University of Utah. Never played a game at the University of Utah, but at least I made the team.
It's a great thing to be on the team.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it happened to be the worst team in Utah's football history, so they were kind of begging for help, I guess.
That's quite a way to put it. When you look back over your entire life, this is just an interesting get to know you kind of question for the audience. How would you describe your perfect day? Anywhere in your life you want to go, what would a perfect day look like?
Oh, a perfect day would be a relaxing day, unencumbered by time constraints and schedules and routines. I mean, I think serving the LDS mission in Tahiti really attuned me to that kind of a life. There was clocks. You didn't really pay attention to the clock. We would have different meetings. Church meetings were supposed to start at 10 o'clock, but they really started when people started showing up.
Right.
And they really didn't dictate to you the time. I would like to. I'm attuned to the South Pacific. I love the islands. I love I'd love to visit New Zealand. I'd love to get down to Australia. I had a very good friend of mine from high school who served in Japan and became a national celebrity over there, for heaven's sakes. And I'd like to visit Japan. Those are some of the things I'd really enjoy doing.
That sounds very interesting. I think that you have led an exciting life from the things that I have read and have heard you talk about in the time that we have known each other. What would you consider to be your destiny?
Consider to be my what thing?
Destiny.
Oh, my destiny?
Yeah.
I think I was destined to be Jill's husband, destined to be a father of two just wonderful children. Both of my children are very, very successful in their own right. They've raised some wonderful grandchildren, all of whom are now off. They're off to college and doing their different things. I think my youngest is 11, so he's still kind of hanging around. But I'd like to be a successful author. I was a journalist in college. I wrote for the Desert News, and I really enjoy writing. I enjoy that kind of expression. Um, so I wouldn't mind getting back into that kind of a job. Would be just writing uh, novels, journalism. Journalism's changed a lot from the time I was in it, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit different now.
Would you stay right there for a moment? And for those who are younger, because I think we have an intergenerational audience, compare and contrast some of the changes and commonalities of journalism back in the day as to now.
Oh, but there's a show that's the All the President's Men. Dustin Hoffman and Robert Redford are in it, and it pretty much depicts the journalism that existed during my day. You had, you would write, you'd put your article in a pneumatic tube. You'd send it. It'd go up and over. You'd send it up through the tubing clear down to the printer, and the printer would typeset it and create a newspaper out of it. Anymore, the newspapers are pretty much gone, and you're getting a lot of things like podcasts. You're getting a lot of bit more of a video type of presentation of the news and of the journalistic content. So you've seen the newspapers just really shrink in size
Yes.
from what they were back in the, say, call it the mid to late 70s. And so the whole idea of journalism has changed quite drastically in that respect.
I find that fascinating. I'm a retired reading teacher, and anything connected to words and how things have evolved over time always interests me because things are always different. If we look every 10, 15 years, there's a lot of drastic differences that have occurred.
Well, you have things like your texting and your emails and a lot of the expression in those very very cryptic, very cryptic expression in a lot of those things. I mean, I remember when the texting first started, um, it wasn't even popular to create a complete sentence, and you read a short, instead of a see you later, SEEYOU later, it would be see you, capital C, capital U later, and then they had different ways of sort of expressing yourself with very cryptic shorthand. It kind of takes away a lot from writing and expression in that regard. And currently, the other thing is, I was just listening on the news today about AI. There's a book that's been published entirely by artificial intelligence. Haven't read the book. The author it says author is unknown. I'm
Of course.
really curious as to how that book will be accepted.
I know, right? I
Right.
would love to go into a little bit more research about that too, which I think I will when we finish with this recording.
Yeah.
Let's just go ahead and dump some more of the puzzle pieces out and go ahead and give you a chance to tell us some specific things that you want to share with the audience as it pertains to stepping outside of a box to pursue your ultimate purpose. Because after all, we are unboxed on purpose, and you've named your episode something new. Would you go ahead and tell us whatever it is that you have in your mind and on your heart today?
Well, something new. It's the whole idea of becoming a full time author, a freelance author, uh, pretty much entirely dependent upon that for my livelihood, for my success. But Stephen King, not necessarily his genre, but just he's got a book about every month, not every week. Robert Ludlum. I mean, there's a lot of very great authors out there, and they have some formulas that they use, that type of thing. But it's just the expression part of it that I really enjoy. I really want to be able to get um, unboxed to be able to step out there and become kind of a new person in that regard. I'm not sure whether that answers your question, but
well, I put so much in there. You did touch on part of what I asked. And so in terms of you stepping outside of your box and making a pivot toward purpose, tell us about a specific time when you actually did change something, do something different to pursue purpose.
well, I think it started as a young man. I think when I was 12, when my brother died, we were in the backyard, and long story short, he died of a gunshot accident. That was very traumatic for me, and it turned me in a whole different direction. I mean, I think that had he not passed away, I would have been a whole different man than I am now. Um, another thing, I named my son after him. I remember when my son was born. Um, I knew that he was going to be that my child was going to be a boy, and I knew that his name was going to be. I was going to name him Brandon. I mean, that was just my son. I named after my brother, and I had known that for years and years. Um, my wife was a little surprised to learn that we had a boy, but I wasn't. And so, I mean, he sort of sent my life in a different direction. It then changed a little bit too at the end of high school, when I had some scholarship offers to play football, which was a game I loved very much. And I had my my religious commitment, if you will, to serve a Latter-day Saint mission, and I had to make a real choice there. Um, and I chose the mission and to go to Tahiti, and kind of really gave up the whatever opportunities I had to play continuing football. Um, I also lost my girlfriend when I did that. Long story short, she didn't wait for me during that 2-year stint. Um,
Well, that seems like it turned out pretty well, because you've got the love of your life that we know her name is Jill. So
yeah,
we're going to leave that right there. Do you
yeah.
have any regrets about the decision that you made? Because I don't seem to think that you do, but I just want to put that out there.
No, I appreciate you asking. Jill, the girl from Pocatello, Idaho, of all places. I was the big city boy from Salt Lake. I remember we were at this is back in the disco days. I was back from my mission, and we were dancing at a place called Uncle Mario's, and I'd been there. I'd been there quite often and gone there frequently, and really enjoyed dancing. And I was resting when I happened to look out on the dance floor, and I saw this beautiful blonde girl, seemed to be surrounded by some light, and I was really smitten. I spoke to her after, but I went and danced with her. Spoke to her after the dance, asked her if she wanted to actually go water skiing. Where some friends and I were headed out that week. Of course, she was too proper, and she always teases me about that now. She wasn't going to go water skiing on a first date. Um, 3 weeks later, I finally was able to get a time with her for 3 weeks later. 3 weeks later, I was, working, and it was a Saturday, and I had remembered this date, and it was probably the only time in my life that I was even contemplated standing up, a girl for a date, because it was about 3 weeks distant since I'd met her, and I I didn't know whether I even remembered her. But I kept the date, went down and met her, and when she answered the door, it was, lightning all over again. And so I knew that she was the one to pursue, and we were married in 1977, um, and we've been married ever since. So there you go.
There you go. A success story in terms of marriage working,
Yeah,
and all of those electric things that happen when your eyes met. You are a lawyer, you are a published author, and you've talked about how certain famous authors write about different things. you know, talk to us a little bit about what kind of writing you want to do and some of the writing that you have already done, and maybe how it compares with being a lawyer.
Um,
And
well,
maybe
you
it
know,
doesn't.
I remember my very first year in law school in contracts law. There's a system of writing that they advertise. It's called the IRAC method. It's called issue. You write the issue. You cite the rule. You do an analysis, and then you write a conclusion. And the
Mm-hmm.
contracts lawyer, he wanted us to, like you say, get outside of that box. He didn't want us to use um, that formula. He wanted us to be more free in the way we wrote about our issues, our cases, our analysis of the law. Uh, the problem with that is that most of the writing that I had done as a journalist were, was patterned, unbeknownst to me, was pretty much patterned after the IRAC method, the issue, rule, analysis, and conclusion. That was a formula that just kind of came naturally to me. And so when I'd write my exams, I was always writing to get out of that box,
Mm-hmm.
and it never really worked. Um, Again, a second career, going as being in law school, leaving Utah, and this I probably ought to back up and just tell you about my wife a little bit here. I
Mm-hmm.
had been working construction and had about 7 different applications for the law school aptitude test lying around. I determined I was going to go any number of times and just didn't complete it. And she finally got fed up with me one day and handed the packet that was most complete, laid it down in front of me and said, "Finish that and let's get it in." And from there, I ended up going to law school. So, long story short, we got here and we got to Sacramento. I worked at IBM while I was there for 4 years of school. And 4 years of school was pretty much get up in the morning, go to, work 8 hours at IBM, home for some dinner with wife and the kids, then back to law school at night. And the point of that was I didn't really do well in law school. Um, and I had the competition was there was a guy there who was getting A's all the time. Glenn, I think his name was. And when it came time to take the bar, there was one particular question on the bar exam that I remember to this day. It was about there was a mother living up, a wealthy mother living up in Oregon, and she had her 2 kids living down here in California. They'd see her about once a year kind of thing, and she was leaving all of her money to a televangelist. And of course, the temptation as you read this is to side with the kids and to write so that the kids could recover their inheritance from mom. And I remember very specifically taking the tack that this is mom's money and she deserves it and she can do what she wants with it. And I believe strongly that it was that particular answer to that test that allowed me to pass the bar the first time. And there was about 40 something, but high 40% of people passing the first time at that point in time. So that was quite a surprise, if you will. It was quite an accomplishment for me, especially since Glenn didn't pass the
Wow.
first time. Yeah, Glenn, who was getting A's on every exam, did not pass the bar the first time. So um, that circumstance is really kind of highlights for me, um, the shock and awe, the surprise that I had from. I guess you'd say that would be stepping out of the box a little bit because
Yeah.
I took a different tack than what I thought the question was setting us up for.
That was probably the purpose of it. But this whole notion gives me that whole idea as to being who God created us to be. And
Right.
if we put our faith in action, sometimes the most obvious answer or the most obvious approach isn't the one that God wants us to take. And so I hear so many things and what you have just disclosed about that. And so you got a couple of books under your belt, and there's that one with this crazy word name that I want you to talk about. We'll share that on the screen as well. Go ahead and talk about your books a little bit. Tell us the name of your books and tell us about what made you write them.
Yeah, well, so My Witness is just a book of poem. Every year for Christmas, I write a poem to go with the Christmas card that we send to everybody. That started out one of the first times I did that. I wrote a poem, I think, for my sister-in-law, and I felt real sheepish about it because we really didn't have any money at that point in time, and we really couldn't get him anything. And I just wrote this poem. It wasn't it, this is the in-laws we're talking about now, and it wasn't very well received by the in-laws. They were grateful, but it's like what? I'm just getting a poem. Um, but over the years, I ended up writing. I started the habit of writing one every Christmas, and I suppose I got better at doing it. And we started getting comments and people looking forward to getting my Christmas poem. And so at one point in time, I put about 12 or 15 of them into this book called My Witness. There's been several since then and that I've got. I haven't published them, but several other poems. There's one every Christmas is what that amounts to. The very first one I wrote, my granddaughter Blythe, she's my oldest grandchild. She's 23 now. Back when she was 3, everything when it came to time, everything was laster-day. Today, tomorrow, it was all laster-day. Laster-day, are we going to go? Laster-day, Dad did this, and so I wrote this poem about laster-day, and I think it goes something like, "Laster-day, I rode my bike up and down the hills at night. Um, in the dell where I grew up, the stars are bright," and it alludes back to Dimple Dell Road, and it's got a lot of me in there, some of my mom, but yeah. So that's Laster-day, and that's about Blythe. And then the third one is just a book. I decided I needed to get get to work and try to put together an actual novel, and I wrote The Swimmer's Promise. And again, it's got a lot of me in there. It talks about, um, you know, it's more of a fantasy book, an octogenarian in an old folks' home. But it starts out he's on an island, and it alludes to some of the things I learned about in Tahiti, and some of the things I went through as a young man in elementary school, and some of the adventures I took as a teenager, and but it's all wrapped up in Marty, who is the hero of this, and he thinks he's traveling the oceans of the world and thinks he's going on all these adventures, and the reality of it is he's probably a senile octogenarian in an old folks home.
Yeah.
Uh, but there's some pretty interesting adventures. People get a kick out of it, they like it, and he also he's able to fiddle with time a little bit. So I play around with that kind of thing.
Sounds exciting because in the mind of an octogenarian, you never know in what direction they may be going or where they may be living at that particular point in time. And so,
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. But I appreciate Quippy Quill. They came along. I'd written it, oh gosh, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, and had a cover on it. And Quippy Quill came along and they put a whole new updated cover on the thing, and I really like it. I mean, let's put it
it's
this way.
different.
Yeah, let's put it this way. My hero is he's got muscles, he's got abs, he's got
It's different, and as we're talking about that, it will be displayed on the screen for everybody. And so as we think about what you have talked about from early days up to now and all of that kind of stuff, just in general, what's on the horizon for you? Where do you see yourself going in the days, weeks, months, years ahead?
Well, my wife and I are probably much in the autumn, and I want to get into full retirement. I'm still working part time as an attorney, and uh, my mind isn't as quick or elastic as it was, when I 20, 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Sure.
And a lot of, and I've already, made my bed and made my points in that world. People now will, and I've got nothing really to prove, and people will ask me if I want to take a deposition or whether I want to go to this particular court hearing or what. And I just say no. you know, I'll draft some complaints for you. I'll do some discovery, but I really don't need to do that work anymore to really show people what I do. I enjoy the writing, and I'd like to be a full-time writer. I'd like to sort of retire to a comfortable place. We've been looking at southern Utah. We've got some friends there. I wouldn't mind going back to my roots and getting back to some skiing. Um, you know, all of my grandkids are now back there on the Wasatch Front, and
Ah,
we're getting close back to family back there.
I think you talked yourself into what's next.
Yeah.
And so as we fast forward to future generations, you got children, grandchildren, but let's think about those generations that are yet unborn, maybe great grandchildren, that will prevent them from being stuck in the box. What advice could you give them so that they won't feel stuck in a rut?
Well, I would say just jump. I mean, if you have an idea, um, don't debate it. Don't dwell on it. Don't if it's an idea and it intrigues you, then work it. Work for it. And success is not dependent upon whether um, that idea works out. Success is dependent upon the final goal, or when you reach the final goal. Um, a lot of the young people that my son and daughter grew up with, they're quite very good examples of this kind of thing. One young man, he started an app for he got golf app, and he ended up selling it for um, multi-millions of dollars. There's another one who developed a little deal you put in I forget what they call them, in the hotel towels, a microchip. You put them into hotel towels so people can't steal the towels now. They start ringing when they go out the door.
Wow. Ah,
Yeah, different things like that, and they just had this idea and they just went for it. And I think that my generation, and I was one of them, was I just waited. It's like, like I say, I didn't get to law school until 8 years after I graduated from the University of Utah.
mm-hmm,
I should have just gone. I should have done it back then.
mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one of the things I think about. But your life is what it is, and I'm successful in my own right, so I can't
Right.
really complain. But that's some of the advice I'd give. If you have an idea, capitalize on it. At least try.
At least try. That is so simple, but so profound. At least try. I appreciate that comment. I don't know if there's anything else you want to tell us that you had planned to say and haven't yet had a chance to say. So I'll give you open mic for a few minutes.
Well, I would just tell everybody to what I try to do, and what I would advise my grandchildren. I've always, advised my children: hard work, um, work with integrity, know the truth, and as it says in the scriptures, so the truth will set you free, right? Um, so be free. I mean, just be free. Just know yourself, understand yourself, and be honest, and work with integrity, and work hard, and success will be yours.
So I've got to ask you this one question. Why the title for this episode, Something New?
Oh, why the title? Oh, for the episode, something new. Uh,
Yes.
well, you asked me that before, and you stumped me before. Something new is is jumping out of the box. It's just becoming something that you've always wanted to be, something more than who you are now. I guess that's something new to who you are.
Thank you.
Um,
I love it. I mean, it's so simple, but I love it. I didn't want any of our listeners to be stuck in a place where it's like, well, what's that really all about? I didn't really hear him say. And so coming back around to that as we get ready to conclude, it just tops it off for us, because coming out of the box is in itself something new, because it's something new for that person who had not done it before. Thank you so
I mean,
much.
if you have a dream, pursue it. I mean, everybody has a dream. Everybody has something that they wish they could do, they
Yeah.
wish they could have done. Uh, and my response to that is, go do it.
Go for it. Go do it.
Yeah, just go do it. Yeah.
So, how can our listeners connect with you later, because they may be interested in sharing something or securing your books or what have you? How can our listeners connect directly with you?
My bet, what, through email or something? You mean? Yeah.
It,
My
whatever you want to share.
my email mhardy at Hardy's Law, HARDYSLAW.com. They can reach me there and just put a hashtag. The hashtag the swimmer's promise.
Okay. What about your books? How could they get a hold of your books?
It's on Amazon. It'll be with Barnes and Noble. It's called The Swimmer's Promise by Mark Hardy. I mean, I think if you just research that or just Google that, it'll bring it up.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
Thank you.
make sure you bring up the new one, not the older one. We put the super guy with his abs. I don't know if you can see that, but there you are.
I'll definitely show it with the image that you already shared with me.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. This has been a fascinating conversation for me. I'm so glad that Mark Hardy decided to join us for Unboxed on Purpose. He's had quite an interesting life, very multifaceted, in my opinion. And I'm just so glad that you're here. Any parting words before I give my closing?
No, Reverend, thank you. I appreciate the time and I appreciate the opportunity. It was a first experience for me, and I'm grateful for it. Thank you.
God bless you. We like here on Unboxed on Purpose interviewing and having casual conversations with people, ordinary folks that represent who people are, not anything above and beyond. But if you would like to be a guest on Unboxed on Purpose, go to our website, click Contact Us, and schedule a time that we can talk about you being a special guest featured to design what you have in mind will thrive in 2025 because of people like you. Please leave your name, email address, unboxed for the subject, and briefly tell us what you would like to talk about and why you want to be on the show. And so we thank you again for joining us this week. And we ask that you join us each week. We release our episodes on Thursdays with restorative conversations, refreshing thoughts that shape not only our today and our thoughts right now, but our future as well as our destiny for tomorrow. Posting our new episodes, you'll find them on LinkedIn, Facebook, definitely they're uploaded to our YouTube channel, and we evolve with this work that we're doing, just like butterflies coming out of a dark box, flying and fluttering freely into the open air, allowing the Holy Spirit to advance us to immeasurable and lofty levels in the Lord. We want you to fulfill your purpose. We want you to grow your intimacy with the Lord, and above all things, grow in grace, God's special favor, and remain favored by the Father. See you next week.
Thank you.
I'm excited to invite you to the second annual Fall Spiritual Retreat. hosted by Favored by the Father Ministries. Happening November 13th and 14th, 2025 at the beautiful Williamsburg Christian Retreat Center in Tono, Virginia. This retreat is all about rest, renewal, and spiritual growth, especially for those who are always pouring into others. If you're seeking time to recharge, reconnect, and be spiritually refreshed among like-minded believers, this is your moment. Early bird registration is open now through July 30th. Save $40 when you register early. Regular registration ends November 1st, 2025. So don't delay. Register today on Eventbrite. And for more details, visit us online at favoredbyfather.com. Let's retreat and be restored. We can't wait to see you there.